Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Elders Insight. Today, we're diving into a topic that might just change the way you think about your daily life after turning 60. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's so important that I need to rethink my habits, especially something as simple as visiting friends and family. But let me tell you, this isn't just about cutting back on travel or visits. No, it's much more than that. This is about your well-being, your peace, and your happiness in this beautiful chapter of life. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever come back from a visit feeling exhausted instead of refreshed? Or maybe, after hosting a gathering, you felt like your energy had been completely drained, leaving you with little time or energy for yourself. If you're nodding your head, trust me, you are not alone. So many of us have felt this way, but very few of us ever stop and ask ourselves, why is this happening? What can I do to feel better? And here's the thing. Life after 60 isn't about constantly keeping up with the same pace you've always had. No. This stage of life is a time to cherish the quiet moments, to focus on the things that bring you joy, and to live in a way that truly respects your own needs. It's not about selfishness. It's about self-care. Today, we're going to explore something that might feel a bit uncomfortable at first, but I promise you, it's going to make so much sense as we go along. We'll be talking about 5 key reasons why reducing or even reconsidering the way we approach visiting others can be a gift to yourself and to the people you love. This is not about isolating yourself or cutting ties with your loved ones. It's about making more meaningful connections while also protecting your energy, your health, and your happiness. And friends, let me tell you this. Life after 60 is not about how much you do, but how deeply you connect with the things and people that truly matter. So as we go through these 5 reasons, I want you to think about your life, your energy, and your happiness. Imagine what it would feel like to wake up every day knowing you have the time and space to focus on what really makes your heart feel full. All right, my friends, grab a warm cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's dive right in. I promise, what you're about to learn might just transform the way you think about this stage of life. Are you ready? Let's begin. Reason 1, respecting personal boundaries. My dear friends, let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention, yet it's so important as we grow older. Respecting your personal boundaries. Now, I know that sounds like a fancy phrase, but really it's about something very simple. Understanding your needs and honoring them. And trust me, this is a life-changing lesson, especially after 60 inches. Let me share a story with you. Mary, a dear friend of mine, is 65. She's always been the life of the party, the kind of person who loved hosting dinners, meeting friends, and catching up over endless cups of tea. But as time went on, Mary started to notice something, a shift. Those same gatherings that once brought her so much joy started to feel, overwhelming. She would come home feeling exhausted, emotionally drained, and needing days just to recover. It wasn't that Mary had stopped loving her friends or family. No, not at all. What was happening was natural. Her energy had changed, her priorities had shifted, and her body was asking her for something new. More rest, more quiet, and more peace. Can you relate to that, my friends? Have you ever said yes to a visit or a social event out of politeness, even though deep down you just wanted to stay home and enjoy a peaceful afternoon? If so, let me tell you, you're not alone and you're not wrong for feeling that way. You see, as we age, our energy is no longer an endless resource. It's limited, and that's okay. The wisdom of aging teaches us that it's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. And sometimes what matters most is saying no to things that drain us so we can say yes to the things that truly fill our hearts with joy. And here's the truth. Learning to say no isn't selfish. It's self-care. It's an act of love, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. Because when you take care of your own needs, you're better able to show up for others with a full heart and mind. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but if I say no, won't people think I'm being rude or distant? And let me tell you, I get it. That guilt can be real. But here's what's important to remember. Saying no doesn't mean you're rejecting someone. It simply means you're choosing to honor your own limits. And do you know what happens when you start respecting your own boundaries? You teach others to do the same. You set an example that says it's okay to prioritize your health and well-being. And trust me, my friends, that is one of the greatest gifts you can give to the people you love. Now, respecting personal boundaries doesn't just mean saying no when you need to. It also means understanding that other people need their space too. Let's be honest. How many of us have dropped by a friend or family member's house unannounced, thinking we'd brighten their day? I know I've done it, but as we age, even the closest of friends might cherish their alone time just as much as we do. And that's okay. It's not about distancing ourselves. It's about fostering deeper, more meaningful connections based on mutual respect and understanding. Let me give you a new way to think about this. Instead of filling your calendar with constant visits, what if you focused on quality over quantity? Imagine spending a few heartfelt moments with a loved one, sharing a truly meaningful conversation, instead of rushing from one visit to the next. Wouldn't that feel more rewarding? Wouldn't that leave you feeling more energized and fulfilled? And here's something even more profound. When you start respecting your own boundaries, you discover something beautiful. You find that the quiet moments, the time spent with yourself, become just as fulfilling as any social gathering. Picture this: a peaceful afternoon in your garden, a warm cup of tea in your hands, the gentle breeze brushing against your face. Doesn't that sound lovely? Doesn't that feel like a moment where you can truly connect with what matters most? So, my friends, the next time someone asks for a visit, take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, do I have the energy for this? Will this bring me joy, or will it leave me feeling drained? And if the answer is no, don't be afraid to gently decline. Remember, you are not saying no to the person. You're saying yes to yourself, and that is a beautiful thing. Respecting personal boundaries isn't just about protecting your energy. It's about living in alignment with your rhythm, your needs, and your peace of mind. It's about finding the balance that allows you to show up for the people you love in a way that feels authentic and joyful. And above all, it's about understanding that true connection doesn't come from how often we're present, but how we're present. So, my dear friends, let's embrace this wisdom together. Let's honor our boundaries, cherish our quiet moments, and live in a way that truly nourishes our hearts and souls. Reason 2, physical health. My friends, now let's talk about something that we all know is so important as we age: our physical health. It's the foundation for everything we do, isn't it? But here's the thing. Taking care of our bodies isn't just about eating right or exercising. It's also about recognizing our limitations and respecting the messages our bodies send us, especially when it comes to how we spend our energy. Let me tell you a story. John, a wonderful man I've known for years, is 70. For most of his life, John was a social butterfly. He loved hosting gatherings at his home, barbecues, birthday parties, you name it. But recently, John noticed something that took him by surprise. After each event, instead of feeling happy and energized like he used to, he felt drained. Physically, his back would ache, his feet would hurt, and he'd need an entire day, sometimes more, just to recover. And emotionally, he started feeling a little overwhelmed, even though he still loved seeing his friends and family. Now, this was hard for John to accept at first. He kept asking himself, "What's wrong with me? I used to love this." But the truth is, nothing was wrong. John's body was simply telling him what all our bodies tell us as we age. You need more rest. You need more time to recover. And that's okay. It's normal. It's a sign that your body is doing its job, letting you know when it needs care. Here's the thing, my friends. Hosting or attending social events might seem like small things, but they can actually take a big toll on our bodies. Think about it. Tidying up the house, preparing meals, standing for long periods, or even just sitting in a chair that isn't comfortable. All of these things require energy. And as we age, our energy is precious. It's something we have to protect and manage carefully. Have you ever pushed yourself to go to a family gathering or visit a friend, even though your body was begging you to stay home and rest? And afterward, you felt completely wiped out? If so, I want you to know that you're not alone, and there's nothing to feel guilty about. This isn't about weakness. It's about wisdom. It's about understanding that your body needs different things now than it did 20 or 30 years ago. And here's something else that's important to remember. When you overextend yourself physically, it doesn't just affect your body, it can also affect your mind. Stress levels go up. You might feel more irritable, and sometimes it can even lead to physical symptoms like higher blood pressure or fatigue. That's why it's so important to listen to your body and give it the rest it needs. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I don't want to let anyone down, and I get it. We've spent so much of our lives taking care of others, our families, our friends, even our communities. But here's the truth. This is your time to focus on yourself. And when you take care of your health, you're actually giving a gift to the people you love. Why? Because when you feel rested and healthy, you're able to show up for them with your full energy and full heart. Isn't that what we all want? Let's also talk about something many of us overlook: the physical discomfort that can come with visiting others. For example, traveling to someone's home might mean sitting in the car for long periods, navigating stairs, or staying in a space that isn't quite as comfortable as your own home. These small things can add up, and over time they can take a toll on your body. And you know what? It's okay to prioritize your comfort over social obligations. It's not about being rude. It's about being kind to yourself. And here's a tip I've shared with many friends, and they've told me it's made a huge difference. Instead of saying yes to every invitation, think about ways to make your visits more manageable. Maybe you shorten the visit. Maybe you meet somewhere halfway instead of traveling long distances. Or maybe you simply space out your social commitments so you have plenty of time to rest in between. These small adjustments can make a big difference in how you feel. My friends, your physical health is your most valuable asset. It's what allows you to enjoy life, to spend time with the people you love, and to do the things that bring you joy. So the next time you're faced with a decision about whether to host, visit, or attend an event, I want you to pause and ask yourself, will this support my health and well-being, or will it take more than I'm ready to give right now? And if the answer is that you need to rest, I want you to know it's okay to say no. It's okay to put your health first. Reason 3, reducing family tensions. My dear friends, let's take a moment to talk about family. For most of us, our families are at the very heart of our lives. We love them. We cherish them, and we want to be there for them. But sometimes, just sometimes, our good intentions can create a little more stress than we realize. And that's what I want to explore with you today. How to reduce family tensions by finding the right balance when it comes to visits. Let me share the story of Susan. Susan is 68 and absolutely adores her daughter and grandchildren. She used to visit them every weekend, bringing homemade treats, offering to help with chores, and spending hours playing with the kids. She thought she was making things easier for her daughter, but over time, she noticed something that made her stop and think. Her son-in-law started to seem distant. Her daughter looked a bit more stressed during her visits, and the kids weren't as excited as they used to be when she came over. Eventually, her daughter opened up and admitted, very gently, that the frequent visits were becoming a little overwhelming for their busy household. Now, I know this might sound familiar to some of you. Maybe you felt something similar when visiting your own children or relatives. You might think, but I just want to help. I just want to spend time with them. And I understand that completely. But here's the thing. Even the most loving and well-intentioned visits can sometimes disrupt the delicate balance of a busy household. You see, family life changes as the years go by. Your children have likely grown into adults with their own responsibilities, schedules, and stresses. Between demanding jobs, raising their own kids, and trying to find time for themselves, their lives can feel like a never-ending race. So, while your visits are filled with love, they can also feel like one more thing to manage in an already packed schedule. And that's where tensions can start to build. But here's the good news. This isn't about stopping your visits or feeling like a burden. It's about striking a balance that works for everyone. It's about learning when to step in and when to step back. So your presence is a source of joy, not stress. One way to do this is by simply having an open and honest conversation with your family. Ask them how often they'd like to have visits and what works best for their schedule. This isn't about taking things personally. It's about showing respect for their needs and giving them the space to be honest. And let me tell you, when you do this, you'll often find that they appreciate your understanding more than words can say. Another thing to keep in mind is the importance of boundaries, not just yours, but theirs too. For example, in Susan's case, part of the tension came from her son-in-law feeling like his home was being invaded, even though Susan's intentions were good-hearted. In-laws often have a unique role in the family dynamic, and sometimes they might feel like they don't have as much of a voice. Being mindful of their feelings and giving them the space they need can make a big difference in maintaining harmony. And let's not forget, family tensions can also come from differences in how generations approach life. Your children might have different parenting styles, household rules, or even values than what you're used to. Offering unsolicited advice, even with the best of intentions, can sometimes create friction. Instead, try to focus on supporting their choices, even if they're different from what you might have done. Remember, times have changed, and what worked for us in the past might not be what works for them today. Now, let me ask you this. How often do we overextend ourselves to stay involved in our families' lives, only to end up feeling drained or even underappreciated? My friends, this is where it's important to prioritize your own emotional well-being. When you find that balance, when you give yourself the space to rest and recharge, you'll notice that your family time becomes more meaningful. The visits aren't rushed, the conversations feel deeper, and everyone walks away feeling happier and more connected. So, here's a gentle reminder for all of us. Less can truly be more. By limiting the frequency of your visits and focusing on quality instead of quantity, you're creating opportunities for your family to miss you, to look forward to seeing you. And when those visits happen, they become moments to treasure rather than obligations to check off the calendar. My dear friends, reducing family tensions isn't about stepping away from your loved ones. It's about stepping into a healthier, more harmonious way of being together. It's about creating space for joy, for love, and for mutual respect. And most importantly, it's about remembering that your peace is just as valuable as the love you give to your family. So the next time you're planning a visit, take a moment to reflect. Is this the right time for you and for them? Will this bring more joy or more stress? And if it's the latter, remember, it's okay to wait. It's okay to give them space. And it's okay to put your well-being first, because when you do, you're not just taking care of yourself. You're nurturing a stronger, more resilient bond with the people you love most. Reason 4, financial pressure. My dear friends, let's talk about something that many of us feel but rarely discuss. The financial pressures that can come with maintaining social connections as we get older. Now, I know this topic might feel a little uncomfortable, but it's so important. Because when we understand how money plays a role in our interactions, we can free ourselves from unnecessary stress and focus on what truly matters: meaningful relationships. Let me share Tom's story. Tom, a 62-year-old retired teacher, loved catching up with his old friends. Every few weeks, he'd visit one of his buddies who lived in a beautifully decorated home and always served fancy meals. At first, Tom enjoyed these gatherings, but over time, he started to feel out of place. His friend's lifestyle, lavish vacations, expensive wine, and even the way they entertained felt so different from his own. Tom began worrying that he couldn't keep up, and even though his friend never said anything to make him feel this way, the pressure was there. It wasn't long before Tom started pulling back from those visits, not because he didn't care about his friend, but because they made him feel uneasy. My friends, does this sound familiar? Maybe it's not a friend's fancy lifestyle, but perhaps you've felt the pressure to host in a certain way, to give gifts, or even to travel for visits when it's financially tough. These unspoken pressures can weigh heavily on us, especially when we're on a fixed income or trying to manage expenses carefully. And here's the truth. As we get older, the financial situations among friends and family often become more noticeable. Some of us may be in a comfortable position, while others are living on a tighter budget. And that's okay. It's just the reality of life. But the problem arises when we start to feel obligated to match someone else's lifestyle, or when we feel guilty for not being able to reciprocate in the same way. That kind of pressure can create a lot of unnecessary stress. Here's something I want you to remember. Friendship and family connections should never be about material things. They should never be about how much you can give or how extravagant your gatherings are. True connection comes from the heart, from sharing meaningful moments, not from how much you spend. Let's talk about another layer of this: holiday pressures. Oh, my friends, we've all been there, haven't we? The holidays roll around and suddenly there's this expectation to host big meals, give lavish gifts, or travel long distances to be with loved ones. And while these traditions can be beautiful, they can also be overwhelming if they stretch your budget too far. But let me tell you this: it's okay to say no. It's okay to set boundaries around how you spend your time and money, because at the end of the day, the people who truly care about you won't measure your worth by what you can give. They'll treasure the love and presence you bring to their lives. Now, I know that for many of us, there's a strong desire to give back to the people we love, and that's a beautiful thing. But giving doesn't have to mean spending money. You can give your time, your wisdom, your care. For example, instead of hosting a big dinner, why not invite a friend or family member for a simple cup of tea? Instead of buying expensive gifts, consider writing a heartfelt letter or sharing a memory that means a lot to you. These gestures often mean far more than anything money could buy. And let me share another tip with you. If you feel the need to reduce the financial pressures of visits, don't be afraid to have an open conversation about it. Maybe you tell your family, oh, hey, this year, let's keep things simple. Or suggest that visits happen at a park or over a shared potluck instead of a costly restaurant meal. You might be surprised how much relief others feel when you take the lead in suggesting more affordable, meaningful ways to connect. My friends, your financial well-being is just as important as your physical and emotional health. It's not selfish to prioritize your budget, it's smart. And by doing so, you're setting an example for others that it's okay to live within your means and focus on what truly matters. So the next time you feel that little twinge of pressure, whether it's to host a fancy event, travel when you'd rather stay home, or spend beyond your comfort, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, is this really necessary? Will this bring me joy, or will it leave me feeling stressed? And if the answer is no, give yourself permission to say no. Your peace of mind is worth so much more than keeping up with appearances. Let's remind ourselves of this. Life after 60 is about simplicity. It's about focusing on the things that truly bring us happiness. And when it comes to social interactions, remember, it's quality over quantity, connection over cost, and love over luxury. So let go of the financial pressures, my friends, and embrace the freedom that comes from living on your terms. You've earned the right to live peacefully, to protect your resources, and to prioritize the things that make your heart full. And trust me, when you do that, you'll find that your relationships become even richer because they're built on what truly matters: love, respect, and genuine connection. Reason 5. Emotional well-being. My dear friends, let's take a moment to talk about something very close to our hearts: our emotional well-being. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that as we grow older, protecting our emotional health becomes not just important, it becomes essential. It's the foundation for a balanced, peaceful, and truly fulfilling life. Now let me share a story with you about Margaret. Margaret is 72, a retired nurse who has always been the pillar of her family and social circle. She was the one who never missed a birthday, a gathering, or even the smallest get-together. But over the years, Margaret started to notice something. While she loved spending time with others, she often came home from these visits feeling mentally exhausted. Her mind felt scattered, her energy drained, and she would need days to feel like herself again. Does that sound familiar to you? Have you ever felt that way after too much social interaction? This is a shift many of us experience as we age. It's not that we stop loving the people around us. It's that we begin to value our quiet moments more. The time we spend alone, reflecting, recharging, or simply enjoying the beauty of life becomes just as precious as the time we spend with others. And my friends, that's not selfish. It's wisdom. You see, emotional well-being is all about balance. It's about knowing how much you can give without overextending yourself. And sometimes it means saying no to a visit or social obligation, not because you don't care, but because you care deeply about yourself. You know your limits, and you're honoring them. But let's be honest, saying no can be hard. We often feel a sense of guilt, don't we? We worry that others might think we're pulling away or that we're not interested in their lives. But let me tell you something important. Saying no to others is really about saying yes to yourself. It's about preserving your peace, your clarity, and your happiness. And when you do that, you actually show up better for the people you love. You're more present, more engaged, and more able to give from a place of fullness, not exhaustion. Now let's talk about the impact too much socializing can have on our minds. Have you ever noticed how after a busy day with friends or family, your thoughts feel jumbled? It's like your brain is still processing everything that happened. This is a sign that your mind needs time to reset. As we age, too much stimulation, whether it's from conversations, activities, or even just the energy of being around others, can start to feel overwhelming. And that's okay. It's a natural part of life, and it's your mind's way of asking for a little quiet. My friends, when we honor our emotional health, we open the door to greater clarity and inner peace. Think about those moments when you've sat quietly with a book, enjoyed a walk in nature, or simply sipped your favorite tea while listening to the birds outside. Those moments aren't just peaceful, they're restorative. They give your mind the space it needs to breathe, to think, and to simply be. And here's the beautiful thing. When you take the time to care for your emotional well-being, it doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. When you're calm and centered, you bring that energy into your relationships. You're able to listen more deeply, love more fully, and connect more meaningfully. Isn't that what we all want? To be truly present with the people we care about? Now let me give you a practical way to prioritize your emotional health. The next time you're invited to an event or visit, pause and ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Am I energized and excited, or am I feeling tired and in need of rest? If you're feeling drained, it's okay to gently decline. You might say something like, I'd love to catch up soon, but today I need some time to recharge. Trust me, the people who love you will understand. And if they don't, it's a sign that your boundaries are teaching them an important lesson about respect. Let's also remember this. Emotional well-being isn't just about solitude. It's about finding a rhythm that feels right for you. Maybe it's fewer visits, but deeper conversations. Maybe it's choosing smaller gatherings instead of big events. Or maybe it's as simple as planning your week in a way that gives you plenty of downtime between social commitments. Whatever it is, the goal is to create a life that feeds your spirit rather than depletes it. So, my dear friends, let's make a promise to ourselves. Let's promise to protect our emotional health like the precious gift it is. Let's embrace the quiet moments, set boundaries without guilt, and live in a way that truly honors our hearts. Because when we do that, we're not just taking care of ourselves. We're creating a ripple effect of peace and love that touches everyone in our lives. In this stage of life, our emotional well-being isn't just a priority. It's a necessity. So let's cherish it, nurture it, and let it guide us toward a life that feels balanced, joyful, and deeply fulfilling. You deserve that, my friends. We all do. My dear friends, we've taken quite the journey today, haven't we? We've explored 5 powerful reasons why it might be time to rethink how often we visit others after 60. And I hope that through these stories and reflections, you found not just practical advice, but also a sense of peace. A reminder that this stage of life is about prioritizing what truly matters. Let's take a moment to look back. We talked about respecting personal boundaries, honoring your own energy, and showing others how to do the same. We explored the importance of physical health and how listening to your body helps you stay strong and vibrant. We uncovered ways to reduce family tensions by finding balance and respecting the space of those we love. We addressed financial pressures and learned that connection isn't about extravagance. It's about the love we share. And finally, we embrace the value of emotional well-being, nurturing the quiet moments that keep our hearts and minds at peace. My friends, all of this boils down to one simple truth. Life after 60 is about quality, not quantity. It's about focusing on what nourishes your soul, cherishing the connections that truly matter, and living in a way that aligns with your needs and your happiness. You've spent a lifetime giving to others, your family, your friends, your community. Now, it's time to give to yourself. Here's what I want you to take away from today's conversation. You have the wisdom, the right, and the power to shape this chapter of your life. Whether it's choosing to spend more time at home, setting boundaries with love, or simplifying your social commitments, every choice you make to protect your energy and peace is a step toward a more fulfilling life. And that's something to celebrate. Before we go, I have one small favor to ask. If today's video resonated with you, if it gave you even one small moment of clarity or comfort, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Elders Insight. When you do, you're joining a growing community of people just like you, people who are committed to living thoughtfully, joyfully, and with purpose. Together, we can continue sharing these life lessons and supporting each other on this beautiful journey. And one last thing, share this video with someone you care about. Maybe it's a friend, a sibling, or even your own children. Let's spread the wisdom and remind each other that it's okay to slow down, to say no, and to prioritize peace. Thank you for spending this time with me, my dear friends. Remember, every moment is an opportunity to choose what's best for you. Take care of your health, your happiness, and your relationships. Until next time, stay wise, stay peaceful, and stay true to yourself. Goodbye for now, and may your days be filled with quiet joys and meaningful moments. See you soon.